Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. In this video, we've got Blake Horstmann and Giannina Gibelli, talking about their relationship. She was on the first season of Love is Blind, and of course, he was on Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise, Blake Horstmann. They've both been stood up at the altar in one way. I guess he was rejected in a proposal form. Either way, they have both experienced very similar and yet tragic things on TV and are finding love now after meeting on All-Star Shore. We're going to get into this in a nice video here in a second. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. I'm also on Patreon at patreon.com/DaveNeal. Yeah, there isn't too much drama in the world, which is a good thing. I don't just get fueled off of drama. I like hearing good, heartwarming stories. And nobody does a better job of bringing those heartwarming stories to us than Charlene and Andy of the Dear Shandy podcast. It's a great one out there. I don't think enough people have eyeballs on it. Production quality is great. Audio, video is great. Awesome host. Of course, I'm always complimentary of what they do because I see real value in it. I'm just going to share 3 or 4 clips, but I totally recommend watching the whole podcast. It's a very good chat. Here's how it begins.
Thing we have, and we'll get into it, the only thing we really bump heads about is timing. Like she is late to a lot of things. So just say that she's a little late, and I'm a very prompt person. But we're getting we're getting better at that. But that's one thing that we always are like. I'm like, babe, we got 10 minutes, that kind of thing. Yeah. But I'm annoying. Like I know I'm annoying.
Blake, I'm the same way militarily. So I'm like, all right, we got to leave in 7 minutes. Way says it's going to take 22 minutes, but we know how you like to drive. Shave off the time for that. You're not even doing your eyeliner yet. She's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm just trying to keep us on time. Just trying to keep. All right, Blake, I'm with you. Listen, it's a relationship. Buffer a little extra time to take care of each other. You know, hair is not always, is always done quickly. All right. So here are their first impressions of each other.
In that case, I want to know, what were your first impressions of each other? And then part B, how have those changed, if at all?
Here, you go first.
Cute. My first impression of Blake, well, I think I just told you guys, I was just like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. He's so cute. He's super charming.
I'm telling you, again, whenever a lady says I'm in trouble or you're trouble, it means y'all are going to be having a good time pretty soon.
He had like this little flowery shirt on, and he was just like such a warm person. And we were meeting a lot of people at the same time, but we just gravitated toward each other. I was just always found myself next to him. And I just thought he was like a very like lighthearted, sweet guy, and that hasn't changed. However,
oh boy.
However, he gets like these little mini fits when technology doesn't. And so, you kind of have to like duck in case like the remote is flying at your head. Not toward me, but just in general. So, but that's like the only thing.
I hate.
All right, so he's got a little Russell Crowe in him. I love it. This is what I love about relationships. You initially know you're attracted to someone, you love them, and then once you've established that love, it's like, all right, let's tear you back down a notch. Let's talk about each other's flaws. Very nice. All right, what's his first impression of Gigi?
Have to be in love. Otherwise, it's impossible. That's not possible.
Yeah, it's true. The glow that you guys have.
So my first impression of her was, so I like, we were quarantining in a hotel and everything, and you start to like hear kind of like who's going to be on the show with you, starts to get spoiled, spoiler accounts and everything. And I remember she never did get spoiled, so I didn't know she was going to be down there, but I remember seeing other people and I was just like, what have I gotten myself into? It's kind of like I come from the Bachelor world, and this show is very much like Jersey Shore MTV, like out there, crazy, big personalities. And I was like, what have I done? So I was very nervous going down to the beach to meet everybody. And she was already down there, right? Yeah, you were already down there when I got there. And I remember seeing her and being like, oh, she's cute. I was like, and then there was actually a guy I was talking to her at one point, and I actually went up. She was standing on a couch, and I actually went up and like stood next to her and tried to like kind of squeeze between the guy because I wanted to get to know her. And my first impressions were same thing. I mean, the energy that she like emits is amazing. Like she's very welcoming. And as we've traveled, like that stayed the same. Like everybody is willing to talk to her, and she's able to talk to people. So that's great. I love that. So she was very welcoming, and I felt really comfortable right away. At the same time, though, she was like very confident. She had this confidence about her that
all right, welcoming and confident. And of course, if you want to check out the full podcast, I'll post a link below. Let's go to the 12:08 mark. Again, just gonna play about 2 more of this. We're not really giving away too much here, But yeah, I mean, they met on a TV show. You know, it's just wild that All Star Shore, which was a competition show, really doesn't. The show doesn't really set you up to find love. They were able to find love. It just goes to show. I mean, we love watching The Bachelor, Bachelorette. It's fun TV, but it just goes to show that Bachelorette's so outdated, right? The chance of finding love on All Star Shore is just as high, if not higher, than it is to find it on some random show that's actually meant for finding love.
Do you not think there was a chance that the powers that be of the show put you on this show to find each other? It just seems a little uncanny.
So we were saying that too, because like our first conversation, like real conversation where we sat down and talked, I had no idea that she was on Love is Blind. Well, at that point knew she was on Love is Blind, but I didn't know she like was at the altar, had God, said no to at the altar, had kind of been the runaway bride. I had no idea. And so then I told her my story.
If you didn't watch Love is Blind, they were getting married. You meet someone and then they were set to get married. At the altar, he says no, he can't do it. And everyone was surprised because she was kind of like what seemed to be the better catch out of the two. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. She runs away, slips, gets mud on her dress. I mean, it was quite the story.
Stories like I had got said no when I was, proposing. And so it's kind of like, wow, our stories are really, really similar.
And of course, Blake was said no to by Becca Kufrin while he was proposing. He was sweating and crying. You know that nice mixture, that mixture, what's it called, estuary, when the salt water and the fresh water mix, tears and sweat, There
were a lot of the similar things over the last 3-4 years. And I remember us being like, damn, they're good. Like,
yeah.
Did they plan this out this way? Did they do some kind of the interviews, and they were like, these two might actually work. And there was a point, I think, where one producer actually mentioned I had a feeling this might happen or something like that. Yeah.
No, I think they hoped, but I think they didn't think it was going to go this well.
Yeah.
Now, look, if you haven't watched All Star Shore on Paramount Plus, it's a fun show. I mean, some people don't like this type of mess. It's probably the most diverse show, not just ethnicity, gender, and body diversity, but it's a lot of fun. It's people. It's like they said, All Star Shore. It's people from Jersey Shore, Gordy Shore, Brasilia Shore, Acapulco Shore. They all kind of team together. It's an international. It's a lot of fun. You get to see all the Brits and doing their zany things. But I have to say, Blake and Giannina were definitely some of the more calm folks. Oh, I mean, everyone else was just like a Surge commercial, if you remember the late 90s. Anyway, I'm going to play 2 more clips. Before that, we want to celebrate today's teacher. Her name is Heather, and she says she's been a fan of our channel since the early days. She's a special education teacher, and her students require different types of learning tools. And as you know, every single day, for the next week or two, people keep signing up. We've got different teachers we're highlighting. If you could donate maybe one item on their wish list, it gets sent directly to Miss Heather's special education preschool classroom. Everyone can use our help, so we appreciate everyone's generosity. Let me tell you something. Y'all have been wildly generous. It has left some of our teachers in tears as they pick up all of the donations they've received. And all they're trying to do is their job and do it as effectively as possible. And if you grew up in a boring classroom like I did, hey, help out. Help them find some new ways to teach. And, when it comes to special needs, that can involve different tools and techniques that might not be provided. All right, let's go back to this story, but I wanted to post that. There'll be a link in the description below. You can check that out there. 2 more quick clips here. And of course, we're only breaking the surface here. Definitely go check out the full podcast. It's a pretty slow news day. Look, we are what we consume, right? And if we're just drama and chaos, we're going to sweat out drama and chaos. Every once in a while, it's good to hear a nice love fest story that dear Shandy provides. Tasha, my fiance, and myself, I think we're getting married in 57 days. We had a fun interview with them as well. Would love to do one in person, though. I hate these Zoom things, but it's better than nothing. I think they've only had one breakup of all of the people that dear Shandy has interviewed. They've only had one of the couples break up, which in the Bachelor world is pretty spot on. So that's not to pressure Gigi and Blake, but clock's a ticking. You guys are going to get proposed, engaged, and all that jazz? Let me know. All right, last 2 clips.
We talk about this all the time. Like, you want to find someone who you can basically be a child with.
Absolutely.
It sounds a little weird, but you spend your whole childhood wanting to be an adult. Yesterday at the airport, we saw little kids with dolls strapped to them as though they were their children. I was like, oh my God, they just want to be adults. And then when you're an adult, you just want to be a kid again. Yeah. And so to be able to find someone who you can be a kid again with is really magical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nothing else to add there, Charlene, with a great point. You just want to be yourself. We're all trying to just, go, we have the world's impressions that have beaten themselves down onto us. And now it's like, all right, how do I unearth all these layers of this, just the world's volcanic ash that has been spewed onto me and get back to who I am as a child? I encourage you all to search for that yourself. Dance like nobody's watching. Speaking of dancing, here's Blake as a DJ and how Giannina copes with dating a traveling, touring DJ.
Tough. It could be tough, but it's not.
It could be. In the beginning, I was more aware of it, and I just I never really paid too much attention to it, just because I know how he does a very good job at helping me feel secure too. Like, let's say we'll walk into a room and 3 of his exes are there. Like, he'll make sure that, he's holding my hand. Like, he always holds my hand, it's like,
good move. Smart man.
Yeah.
Smart
like
man.
that, and I'm like,
I've screwed that up before. I've done, I'm just cavalier. I'm like, it's a party. All these girls I used to know hanging out. Nope.
And I don't like girls in my booth, anything like that, even if they're like friends of friends. I'm like,
no
nope,
girls
in
in
my
the
booth. Like, that's not okay, I gotta just be aware,
It's a wise man. Wise man.
Very wise indeed. No girls in the booth, Blake says. He doesn't want people getting the wrong opinions, especially, look, when it comes to, you hate to relate, but when it comes to the way people spread rumors and information, you take one photo of some girl in the booth, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, Blake's got a DJ side piece. DJ side piece. Wouldn't that be the DJ side piece? Okay, anyway. Oh boy. Yeah, no, I know what that's like, as a stand-up comic, when you talk to an audience, you're trying to make friends with the guy and sort of flirt with the girl in one way or another. That's kind of the dynamic when you do crowd work with an audience. When you see someone who might be your mom, you try to mom up to her, or a dad, or someone who's a younger guy. You try to relate to them in from the position that you have. And as a comic, that position is like camaraderie. Now, it's different than, like I said, when you're talking to someone on stage, theatrically roasting them, having fun, getting people to laugh, versus like, come back to the green room after. Yeah, that would be a bad look if I had women in the green room, and I feel like the green room is the same version as the DJ booth. It's the intimate space in which is only reserved for close friends, family, and girlfriends. All right, let me know what you think. There's going to be a link below to this video. You can go check out the whole conversation. As always, Charlene and Andy knock it out of the park. They're great at what they do. Go give them a support, a follow, a subscribe, and more content coming your way. I'm going to be going live on Patreon right after this. Patreon.com/Dave Neal for behind-the-scenes Friday content. And we'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. DJ Dave.